Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dynavision Advanced Units webinar. We're very happy you guys are joining us today to learn more about our wonderful app. Just so you know, this session will be recorded and everyone will have access to the recording afterwards. Now, I noticed that there are a lot of consultants in the house today, so I will keep this, let's say, sales introduction short and sweet, so we can focus on the demonstration. My name is Jens Kolvenaar. I am your friendly partner manager at Dynavision, where I handle everything concerning sales, marketing, and of course, partner management. Joining me today is the one and only Bent, our amazing product lead at Dynavision. If you guys would have any questions during the presentation, feel free to drop them in the Q&A section of the chat, and then we'll try to answer them after the demonstration. If we wouldn't be able to get to your questions during the half an hour we have today, we will definitely get back to you. Now, before we jump into the demo, I'd like to share a little story about an ISV called Dynavision. So once upon a time, a brilliant team of Belgian consultants noticed a recurring pattern. BC partners were constantly building the same types of customizations over and over again. And then they had a light bulb moment and they thought to themselves, why not standardize these features and turn them into a SaaS app? And just like that, Dynavision was born. The team rolled up their sleeves and developed a portfolio of around 30 add-ons for Business Central, all with a 100% SaaS focus, meaning that no matter how many updates Microsoft throws at Business Central, our apps stay up to date and ready to go. The team decided to focus on the distribution, manufacturing, and trade verticals, as well as the drinks or beverages sector, because after all, Belgium is famous for its expertise in these areas, and especially the last one. Last but not least, we are backed by a venture capital firm called Capital A that supports our further growth and innovation. Now, if you guys are curious about our complete offer, I would definitely suggest you check out our website, dynavision.app, where you can find the full scope of our portfolio. Here are some snapshots of our dedicated team, ensuring our partners remain worry-free. If you guys want to cooperate with us, you will get to know them in a later stage. As you can see, it's a combination of course, me on the business side, and we mainly have people focusing on developing our add-ons, expanding them, and making sure that we can keep on growing. Last year, we were present at Directions. This year, we'll also be attending Directions in Poznan. So if you guys are there, feel free to visit us at our booth. We'll be happy to have a chat with you there. I'd say follow us on LinkedIn if you want to stay posted about more news about what we're going to plan at our booth. And we will also communicate our booth number once it's been revealed to us by Directions EMEA. Here's a real quick glimpse of some of the partners in our ecosystem. We are currently active in countries such as Belgium, the Netherlands, France, Germany, the US, Canada, Switzerland, Czech Republic, and so on. So in short, we are open to do business with any BC partner in any country that really knows what the benefits can be of working with an ISV like Dynavision. If you want to join these wonderful partners, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, so that's it from my part. So the boring sales part is over. I'd say, Bent, over to you.
Thank you for the introduction, Jens. So before I will go to my demo system, just 3 slides to give a small overview of what we will be seeing. So advanced units, there are several, I would say, compartments of functionalities. The first one is master data management. So we added some functionality in Business Central to help you as consultant or end user to manage your master data on the side of unit of measures. So on the unit of measures table, we have some predefined roundings that can be applied automatically. We introduced what we call the unit classes. I will show it in a moment, where we can do some predefined setup for items. We also expanded a little bit the weights functionality on the item unit of measures. And the planning parameters on the item card are also a little bit more user-friendly with some fields that we have added on the item card. Second part is some functionality on the sales order. We have added some functionality on the sales order for the order entry so that you can set a default order quantity. We also have some parameters to define the minimum order quantity, and we also have some functionality to what we call apply order multiple, that you can sell in predefined quantities that you want. So I will be showing that in a moment in the system. And then last but not least, we have what we call the commercial unit of measure. On the items, we can enable an additional commercial unit of measure, which is in fact kind of a virtual unit of measure that is only used to calculate on the sales and the purchase side. One of the most visual examples there is flooring or tiles, for example. You're selling tiles in packs, but in fact, when you're communicating with your customers and on the invoices, you are calculating in square meters, but the packs are the real unit of measures that you are handling in your warehouse. So we have there some conversion rules, and we have a calculator to be able to very easily add those items on your sales order. So we will see that all those functionalities which I mentioned now in a nutshell. So we will start sharing my Business Center screen. So if everything is fine, and Jens can confirm maybe, you can see my Business Center screen. It's a sandbox environment, the latest 20.6 version of Business Central. First of all, as each time in these webinars, I just installed the Dynavision Advanced Units extension over app source. That's what everybody is doing today, installing apps over app source. Once the app is installed on a sandbox, we have a free license. In a production environment, you can start up a trial of 28 days. Over the Dynavision setup, where you can manage the licenses, we also have the function get default data, and get default data also in this case will show you that for the advanced units, we have a manual which explains all the functionalities, and just by clicking on the manual, it will download the PDF so that you have all latest info about the app available in the documentation. So I would say that's the starting point if you want to experiment or to test the app. And on the sandbox, you can go ahead without any license. As you can see, after the installation, we have Advanced Units setup page, quite simple setup, where you can see some options. We also have the related info. So I will first focus on what I call the master data management. On the standard item of unit of measure table, we added two fields so that on the standard setup, you can already predefine the rounding method and the rounding precision of your unit of measure. So if later I will be using that unit of measure on my items, it will automatically set the rounding precision and the rounding method for that unit of measure. On top of that, we define a new entity, and that's the unit class, where you can define a code. For example, for the tiles is the example that I will be showing later on. So I give it a code tile, I define the description, and now for that unit class, I can define what is the standard unit of measure for sales, for purchase, or for transfer. So if later on I will use that unit class on my item card, it will automatically set all those values on the item card. On top of that, linked is over the flow field or over the menu, what we call the conversions. And here I can predefine the conversions in other unit of measures. For example, I have packs, and in box, I have 6 packs. If I define multiple of those, I could, for example, again, define another unit. It will be entered here with that description. The description is automatically generated, and here you can also set a rounding method and a rounding precision. So it's, in fact, it's a kind of template, the unit class, with different item unit of measures conversions that are predefined in that unit class. So later on, I will be applying that on my item card. For the unit classes, we have then the option how to create the item unit of measures. And most of the time that will be on, because if you define unit classes, you want to use them. On the same level, I can define, okay, what is the standard unit of measure for my item journal. Standard Business Central will also always apply the base unit of measure. Here we can set another unit of measure for that. The weights, we will see, we added some functionality also there, and I have enabled the automatic calculation for the weights. The invoicing units, I will keep that for the end. So what's the idea now? I go to my items, and once I'm on the item list, I can create a new item. And as usually with standard Business Central, I can select a template with some predefined values on the item card. It's creating my item, and I can now enter the description. So you see already for my item template, I have the base unit of measure, which is a pack in this case. And now I can go and select one of the unit classes. So I will take the tiles that I just created a moment ago. I apply it. And if I go now into the item unit of measures, the other unit of measures for that item are automatically created with the quantities and with rounding precision and with the predefined rounding method that I want to be applied. So that's the example of the unit classes. You just define templates and you can apply them very easily at the moment that you're creating new items. So that will reduce also the amount of errors and the amount of clicks that the end user needs to do. And I see that I made a little typo mistake. I will correct that in the webinar. So that's what we see on the item card. For the weights, for example, if I now will fill in my net weight and my gross weight on the item card, which are standard fields, and I go back on my item unit of measure, because I enabled the automatic calculation, we can see that the values are also on the item unit of measures, the gross weight, but we added some fields that we can have the weight, the tar weight, and the gross weight also available on the item unit of measure. On any time I can even edit those values here on that list. So these are all little things to help you with the setup of new items. You will also see now that on my sales unit of measure and purchase unit of measure, the corresponding item unit of measures, which I predefined on my unit class, are set already. And then we added some, I would say it's a very simple but a very useful addition, that if I have, for example, my reordering policy on a fixed reorder quantity, I can now also, as you can see, set my safety stock or my reorder points in pallets, because my purchasing unit of measure is pallets. And basic standard BC, you have to calculate each time from that unit of measure to your base unit of measure. I just can say, okay, I want one pallet as a safety stock. I want a reordering point of 3, and I want to order 7. The trick that we are using is, if you go to show more, you will see that the standard fields are still available, and we are just using those new fields to calculate in an easy way. So you don't have to do that by head or by using a calculator or by multiplying values in the field. You just enter it in the unit of measure that you are used to, and it will automatically set the standard fields with the corresponding value. So it's helping the users to manage their master data on that plane. So for the order entry, then we enabled what we call the order modifiers. Therefore, I have preset an item, webinar item, and on the price and sales fast tab, we will see that we have added some additional fields. For example, the default quantity in pieces. So also here, it's depending on the sales unit of measure, which value I can set here. I say, okay, the default quantity is 6 pieces. And then we have the minimum order quantity. I can say I want a minimum order quantity of 3. What is the action that will be applied when I enter a value below? It will round to the minimum. The other option is that it will ask what it should do. And we can also set that the minimum quantity is enforced. Because this is now disabled, you could also go below. So the order multiple then is I always want to sell in sets of 3, for example. And here again, you can set the value and you can then say, okay, what is the action that should happen? So that's a way of predefining and to help with the order entry. So if I make a new order, it's my first order of the afternoon, so it's a little bit taking time. Enter my customer, and if I now will enter the webinar item I predefined, you see that the quantity is automatically set to 6. If I will now change, for example, to the quantity to 5, because I said I want to sell always multiples of 3, I entered 5 and the system is asking, what should I do? Should I enter 3 or should I enter 6 on the sales order? So it enables you to add some logic on the sales line, and depending on the setup, it will enforce you to sell a minimum quantity or to enforce you to always sell a specific multiplication of those items. But you can even go between that. So it depends a little bit on the setup, what you want to do, but the setup is quite flexible. On that point, we added one more option. So if I go back to my sales, I can now also apply a surcharge. A surcharge in this case is that we will add a value to the unit price on that line. We have two options. If we go below the minimum order quantity, or if we go below the default quantity, we can decide to add a surcharge on that item. So if I go now here and I say, okay, I want 6, we see that the price is 10. If I say I want to sell 3, it will add the additional €2 or $2, depending on your currency, on the unit price of that line. So helps you a little bit for the sales order entry. Those functionalities are not, I would say, that complex, but it offers you quite some flexibility with the options that we have added on the item card. So for the final thing, we go again to the advanced unit setup. And on the advanced unit setups, the invoicing units are still disabled. So because that's quite a bigger feature of the app, you can also enable or disable the invoicing units if you want to use it, yes or no. Just by clicking on the setting, the invoicing unit is enabled. So once again, the invoicing unit is a kind of a virtual unit that we are just using on the sales and purchase side. to calculate. And the most, I would say, visual example is tiles, so flooring tiles. Flooring tiles are most commonly sold in packs, but the packs have tiles with a certain dimension, and if you buy one pack of those tiles, you have in this case 1.44 square meter of those tiles. In those markets, it's also common that the customers will ask for a certain amount of square meters, and then we will sell a rounded amount of packs to reach that amount of square meters. And also on the invoice, you will see the price in square meters. So that's what we added with this functionality. If I go now to the item unit of measure, you will see by enabling the option, we have now a second subpage on this page where we have the item invoicing unit of measure. In this case, I defined square meter as the invoicing unit of measure. And I'd say in one pack, we have 1.44 square meters. So automatically, he also knows, or it will calculate the conversion factor. And we have a description that in one pack, we have 1.44 square meters. Also here, we can have some rounding and we can have some conversion type. Most of the time, we have a link in both directions, as we will see on the sales order in a minute. So we define those square meters, and then on the sales side, we can define what is the invoicing unit of measure for the sales, and we can also do the same for the purchase side, because we support this on sales and purchase documents. Important to know, if I go now to my sales prices, for example, I have a sales price for a box, a pack, and a pallet. We see the standard field unit price linked to a unit of measure, but we also see the invoicing unit price linked to the square meters, which is defined on the item. So now you have the choice. I can say, okay, I want to edit the unit price, but I can also edit the invoicing unit price. I can say, okay, this needs to be 9.99. And if I calculate this automatically, it will say, okay, the pack is costing 14.38 euros or dollars or whatever. So you can decide, do I want to edit the unit price or do I want to edit the invoicing unit price? It will calculate in both ways. So you can change your prices then, and you can then, of course, verify the lines to apply those new prices. So on sales line and purchase price list lines, we can see also the price in the, I would say, the logistic unit of measures, but also in the invoicing unit of measure. So what I also defined is on my sales side that I want to use the calculator by default, open the unit calculator. And I have two possibilities, or I have three possibilities. I don't use it. I use it automatically when I validate the item number, or it will open when I validate the variant code of the item. So it depends if you work with or without variants. If I go back now to a sales order, again, the same customer. And if I will now select my tiles, once I validate my item number, the unit calculator is opened. So what I see now is, okay, I can enter a quantity in square meters. So in fact, I ask my customer, what is the amount of square meter that you need for your flooring? He says, okay, I want 25 square meter. You enter 25. Once you hit the enter button, it will show you a list of alternatives. The green line is the standard sales unit of measure in packs. So it tells me if the customer asks 25 square meter, I can sell 18 packs and that will result in 25.92 square meters. If I go below, the quantity will not be enough for that customer, so it automatically says, with the rounding and so on, you have to sell him 18 packs. At this moment, I even have the choice to say, okay, I don't want to sell packs, but I can sell boxes, because it's also 3 boxes. Then you can also see, okay, I can sell 3 boxes, and that will be also 25.92 meter. But I have also pallet as a unit of measure. I could also sell 1 pallet to that customer, but at that moment it will be way too much for that customer. So I even don't consider it. If I click now just on the link here, take over 18 packs, I click on it, and on my sales order now, you will see it has the 25.92 square meters, which corresponds with 18 packs. So the calculator is opened automatically. I just I enter the desired square meters. I get the proposition in the different unit of measures that are available, and I just can select one, and those values are then transferred on my sales order line. At this moment, I can also decide, okay, I don't want to sell 18 packs, I will sell 20 packs, and it will recalculate my square meters at that moment. So the conversion is going both ways. Also here, the invoicing quantity, I can now say, okay, I want 35 square meters. It will automatically calculate again with the same rounding and so on, and it will say, okay, I will sell 25 packs. At any moment, you can also click the Assist Edit to reopen the calculator and to restart everything from the beginning. So a very easy way to manage those kind of sales. And what you see also now on the order line, we have our invoicing unit of measure, the price, and we have the unit price for the pack. And at the end, of course, the line amount will be 25 times 14 euros with the line amount. For the layouts, it's a question which layout types that you're using, but you can then on the layouts decide if you want to print or you have to make it in the layouts, in the design of the layouts, which unit price will be used to be printed on the layouts. Same functionality is available also on the purchase orders. So with this, we come to an end of the demonstration.
All right, thank you, Bernd, for the clear demonstration. Are there any questions about the add-on? It's a time to ask them in the chat, and then we can definitely go through them. But at the moment, I don't see any questions. I only saw one of the AI assistants giving us a nice overview of this call. So thank you for that. So if there aren't any questions or you would just like to contact us, feel free to scan this QR code or fill out the contact form on our website, and then we can definitely talk about that. Licensing is done on a yearly basis based on production environments. So we don't do any user-based pricing. So all you have to do is purchase a license for 1 year per production environment, and they will be renewed automatically, and you can cancel them 1 month before your renewal date. I see there's also a question from Maud. Bernd, does it all work on orders only, or also the quotes and return orders, or the calculations move to the archive as well?
It works on the sales table, so on sales and purchase table, so table 3637 and 3839, and it is also moved to the archive. So in the archive you also have the same data available, and if you then do a restore of that order, it will also be restored. At this moment, it's not working on the project planning line, which is the next question that I see. At this moment, it's really dedicated to the sales part. Yes, sales and purchase part. We didn't have the requests yet for project planning. So if you have there a real project, you can contact Jens and then we can talk.
Yes, we are always open to talk about how we can further improve our add-ons based on your requests or your customer requests. So if you saw some things that were maybe missing, just feel free to reach out and we will be happy to talk it through with you.
Yeah, one thing I didn't show, but what was recently added on a partner request is that the invoicing unit of measure is also added on the requisition and on the planning worksheet. So if you're also planning or using the requisition worksheet for purchasing, you also have that field now available there, and there you can also then use the calculator.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, then I guess we can conclude this webinar. Thank you all for joining. We hope you enjoyed the demo and that you now have a clear view of what our Advanced Units add-on can do for you and your customers. And as mentioned, if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out. We're more than happy to assist you guys. Also in pre-sales, if you have any requirements which you want to match to our add-on, just give us a shout and we'll be happy to help. So hope you all have a great day or evening and hope to talk to you soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye.